I'm now joined by Arise News analyst Emmanuel Efene for a brief analysis of the Presidential Town Hall Meeting Series 2 that just ended. Emmanuel Efene, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Ruben. Yes, the second in the series of the Town Hall Meeting by Arise News Channel in collaboration with other stakeholders took place last night, and we just watched a rewind of that town hall meeting, of course featuring four candidates, presidential candidates, that of Omoyele Sowore of the African Action Congress, Yabagi Sani of the Action Democratic Party, Peter Omiadi, Professor Peter Omiadi of the All Progressive Grand Alliance, as well as Adewale Adebayo of the Social Democratic Party. Of course, the issues: security, the economy, and of course, they took power as a subtopic there. And Chief Michael Zekume, who intervened at a point, was able to also drag in the issue of the constitution we operate, whether indeed any of these presidents can function maximally with the constitution we have. But clearly on the issue of security, all the candidates seem to have an idea, especially as it relates to the security architecture, wanting us to review the security architecture against the backdrop of the question posed by Waziri Adio on how to tackle the drivers of insecurity in Nigeria, including porous borders, availability of easy access to weapons, amongst others. So they all talked about the changing the security architecture, except Adebayo, yes, Adewale Adebayo, who now drew the attention of others to the fact that we seem to be using force and law enforcement to solve political problems, and that political issues, i.e., the agitation of groups like IPOB, should not be treated as a security issue, but should be dealt with as a political issue. Perhaps we'll have security in the southeast. Perhaps that is being more specific. But clearly, what they are saying is that we need to change the security architecture, ensure that only professionals, yes, are put in charge of security, not politicians. Because when politicians are in charge, well, they look at the contracts. Perhaps that interests them more than doing the actual job. What I can take from that is that whoever becomes president come 2023 will have a lot of suggestions or ways to deal with these problems, will be able to mine solutions from the variety of provisions which some of these candidates are putting forward. Some novel, some just outlandish, but clearly they all want to solve the problem. Of course, the economy, which is a major issue that they had to tackle, especially the issue of debt and revenue. And they all came up with different solutions how to grow the economy. Adebayo, yes, Adewale, talking about putting an economist in charge of CBN, because in his view, what we have now is like a cashier who is always ready to provide cash for the government anytime the government is in need of cash, whether it has to print more money. But I don't think that's a fair comment for the current dispensation at the central bank, because but the point is making, we want a CBN that can control the government, be in charge of the economy, not the government giving directive to the central bank governor. And we see it elsewhere, how the reserve in America, how the Reserve, yes,
Federal
the
Reserve,
Federal
the
Reserve,
US Central Bank.
yes, Central Bank, literally dictates how the economy should go at any point in time. Also, we see that in the UK. But here, the CBN, in the last 7 years, seem to be even doing more than fiscal management into going into almost every area, including the most recent one, the National Theatre, which the CBN has just funded the renovation and talking about how that place should be utilized. But clearly, a lot to do in the economy. But the economy without oil, that question posed to the candidates. Some just breezed around the issue. Some, Sowore was still talking about oil, whereas what that question was about was, what are you going to do without oil? Without oil revenue, how can we run an economy without this oil revenue, which we rely on almost 90%? The response of Adewale, again, quite incisive. We shouldn't be ashamed to have oil. Whether the world is transiting, every country that has oil is still exploiting the oil and using the oil. So, and I agree with him totally that what we need to do is to use our oil revenue, account for our oil revenue properly, ensure that there are no leakages like we are seeing, oil theft. Use that money to develop the economy, create alternative sources of revenue for the country through that, just like the United Arab Emirates have done, using the oil money which are still exploiting to develop their country to the extent that that country is now the signature of all eyes. Everybody wants to go to Dubai. Every major corporate organization in the world wants to have an office in Dubai. So a lot to learn from the presidential candidates, as Mike Ezekume himself put it.
Well, thank you very much, Emmanuel Efene, for your insights. What is clear is that the presidential candidates have a duty to continue to engage the Nigerian people in terms of their policy proposals, their priorities, their ideas. And it's good to see that the second series in our town hall series has gone successfully. And we hope that other candidates, when they are invited, will also take advantage of the proposal, of the invitation, and then talk to Nigerians. That is what is important.